Hello, I'm Derin Adetosoye, an Adobe insider, and today I have the pleasure of speaking to two of the nominees from the Special Visual Effects category in this year's BAFTA Film Awards. I'd like to welcome Andrew Jackson and Scott Fisher, who are both being nominated for their work on the film Tenet. So, Andrew and Scott, thank you so much for joining us today, and a huge congratulations on this nomination. To our Adobe community who are watching this at home, and they themselves would like to get into special visual effects, what would you say, both of you, are the top pieces of advice that have allowed you to get to where you are today?
I always give the same advice to people that, the best thing you can do is to actually do some projects yourself. There's, all the tools that we use now are available to everyone, really. You can get demo versions of software. We've all got cameras in our phones that are better than, professional cameras were not that many years ago. And so everyone really has access to the things that you need to do the work. And, whether it's practical or virtual, we can still kind of put together things, make up projects, copy things, do, if you want to show anyone that you're interested and keen, the best way to do that is to show them work that you've done, things that you've come up with yourself. But in the practical world, I guess the same is true, Scott.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the biggest thing about the movie industry, I think that people don't realize, is you have to get in and get going at some point. And I think it's in the regular world, you're looking for that ideal job, but you can be promoted and make great strides in the movie industry very quickly just by getting in, and you really don't necessarily know what you want to do till you get in and get going. So if you get in and start networking with people, and there's countless stories of people that wanted to do special effects or visual effects or camera work, and they get in and they see what other people are doing, and they go a different direction, or vice versa. There's a lot of opportunity, I think.
Amazing. And in terms of your creative approach to projects and how you tackle things, have you found throughout your career that there are certain techniques which really work, or do you think it's sort of individual to each person?
I think it's definitely individual to each project. I mean, Andrew and I we were just talking about this, where you have to kind of be, a bit of a chameleon, where you have these different directors and different producers, and there's always different methodology that might be because of time or money or the script or location. So you have to kind of be open to that. You always draw upon what you know and what you can do. You always look for new technologies and new techniques for doing stuff. And then you also have to kind of work that in with because it's very collaborative, and it's a team project. So you have to all kind of agree upon a way to do it, and then head down that road together.
The early days of any film, there's a lot of negotiating between the different departments, because especially between, as Scott mentioned before, between special effects, visual effects, and stunts and art department, quite often the same challenge could be solved in many different ways, and each solution affects different departments in different ways. And so ultimately we all have to agree on what's best for the film and make sure that each of the departments is happy with that. You kind of suggest ideas, you throw them out there, and sometimes they get shot down, and sometimes they're the obvious one, or other times there'll be multiple solutions, and it's not really obvious which one you would go with. But again, as Scott said, very much on a per project basis. You bring all the history that you have and the experience from previous shows, but every show is different for so many reasons.
And so I can imagine with that process and all of the collaboration and ideas that go together, it makes sense then why you'd be working with similar teams time and time again, because I guess you get a full gist of each other. But when you are in new situations and with new teams, how do you tackle differing opinions and differing views on topics?
Well, I mean, I think Andrew and I are both fortunate where we're at that point now where you kind of, that's the reason you get hired on some of these projects, is because of your experience and other directors and films that you've worked on. So there's no better example than stuff that's cut and edited in a finished film, and that looks great. Or sometimes, like with Chris, it's funny. We'll look at movies and we'll spend almost as much time looking at things that didn't work. Like he would say, I don't want to do that no matter what we do, you know? And so, and sometimes we'll call colleagues and talk about how they did things on other films and things like that as well.
To sort of wrap things up, if someone watching this is sitting at home and they know that this is the industry that they want to get into, if there was something that you wish you had known at the very early stages of your career, what would that piece of advice be, and what could you share to our Adobe community?
I think it's the hours. I think that's the thing nowadays. I don't think people don't. I guess I was pretty enthusiastic when I first got going and didn't really think about it. But I think that seems what's most shocking to people when they get going is like there's a lot of hours and a lot of, you know, but again, it's kind of that great thing. I think so many people get in these jobs and don't want to work a bunch of hours and then it kind of goes nowhere. And this business is not that. If they work that, like, not necessarily the hours, but if you work hard and do whatever's kind of in front of you, you can really do well in this business, because there's not that many people that want to do it. That really, it's that old fashioned kind of work ethic thing, but it definitely rewards in this business, I think.
Would you agree?
It definitely consumes your life while you're on a project. It's that you don't expect to have time to do pretty much anything else. I mean, on a shoot, you're really struggling to find enough hours to sleep sometimes when you include, if you have a drive, like quite often we have an hour and a half drive to set, so you add that to the end of a 12-hour shooting day and then a daily session, there's not many hours left. So yeah, that's definitely true, but you kind of quickly forget all that when the film, if the film that you're working on is good and you're pleased with the work, and as it comes out and the excitement around it, all of that sort of is the payoff, I guess, for that time when you're really putting in that work.
Amazing. Well, evidently, all of the long hours and the hard work's paid off, because Tenet turned out to be such a phenomenal film. And it's been a pleasure getting to speak with you both and hear more about your creative journey and advice that you share with our audience. So a huge thank you for your time and a massive congratulations once again for your nomination. Thank you very much.
Thank you.